Okay, I made this video before, but the file got corrupted. Here we have a Encon Industrial from 1995. Or at least that's what, there's a label inside the motor, or I can't remember if it's on top of the motor or inside the motor. I did have to take the motor apart in it to clean the bearings. Somewhere it was labeled 2/95, which implies that it was made in February of 95. Must have been inside because I'm not seeing it. Anyhow, I've been trying to figure that out because my 98 catalog shows these, let me see if I have the 98 catalog close by and I can show you what it would look like. I don't know if it's going to be easy to find. I'm not going to take too long on it because the videos are sitting here. But if I have it, easy to reach. Yep. Let's see, this is 1997, sorry. And if you give me just a second, I will find it in the catalog and show you. This is a little bit different than I've seen it in some previous catalogs. So I should probably, I'll look through the catalogs when I have more time, but you can see it's a thicker motor. This one has straight blades. I've also seen it with curved blades, belt canopy, etc. Maybe, I'm not sure what catalog that I saw the curved blade one. I know when you got them in the box picture had curved blades. That's neither here nor there. So we were trying to test this out the other day and it seemed to be very slow. And let's power it up. Let's put it on high, power it up, and show you just how slow it is. I got a request to do more videos from a different angle. This is a very small space and the fans hang down low, so in order to get this angle I have to go into the corner and kneel. So I usually don't do that till the end of the video, but I'll try to do it more. So that's how it behaves. And in the other video I swapped out a 3.5 microfarad, excuse me, the original capacitor is 3.75 microfarads, 3 3/4. And I swapped out another 3 3/4 and a 4, and it went considerably faster with the 4 and was exactly the same with the 3 3/4. So what we're going to do today, I have my capacitor tester here today. This is a multimeter that's got a variety of functions. It's got 20 amp meter. I didn't know that, so this I can theoretically use this for everything. It's got tests for capacitance, impedance, voltage. So that makes it a pretty useful tool. It was only $11 on eBay. I think it came from China or Taiwan or something like that. I read all the reviews before I got it because it's not a name brand coming direct from overseas, and what everybody pretty much said was it's very accurate. There were a lot of technicians that compared it to their $200 fluke meters, which I also have one, and said it was just as accurate. It's just really flimsy. So they said if you're going to be using it, a lot, buy a couple, have a backup. You can buy 3 of them and you're barely at the 6 of the cost of a fluke one. So I keep my fluke one in my toolbox where it gets roughed around a little bit, and this one stays put at either this shop or the other shop. But my fluke doesn't have a capacitor function. So letting this spin down with the original capacitor. I'm going to put the in my beautiful camera stand. And what we're going to do is we're going to open it up and we're going to test the capacitor value. And then when we replace the capacitor this time, we can also test the value of the replacement capacitors before we put them in. Now, all it's going to do is test the value. There's other things in a capacitor that can go wrong that wouldn't show up on this tester, like leakage and etc. So just because it tests good doesn't mean it's good, but if it tests bad, then we know it's bad. So there is much barking upstairs, which usually means that FedEx or UPS is here. Could be somebody else, though. So, I guess I did a good job re-greasing the bearings, because it sure is taking its sweet time. Then again, as I said in the other video, these blades are very heavy. They're steel blades, and they're heavier than... A lot of industrials have steel blades. I don't know why that was an option instead of aluminum. Maybe steel is cheaper than aluminum. That goes against common sense to me, but maybe it's true. I don't know. I've never checked into that. But maybe it's easier to make them out of steel. I don't know. I don't know the reason why most industrial fans, and especially cheaper industrial fans, usually have steel blades when aluminum is better. Aluminum is much lighter, and so therefore it's much less strain on the motor. But these are the heaviest blades on any 56-inch industrial fan that I can remember. Definitely way heavier than, for example, the Dayton leading edge fans that also have steel blades. Moss Caribbean Breezes have steel blades. Off the top of my head, every industrial ceiling fan other than EnviroFan Gold Lines have steel blades. So, but I could be wrong about that. I haven't researched that in a long time. But it's awfully silly to me when the aluminum blades definitely are much better for performance. So that's a contributory factor in why it's taken so long here. But as soon as it stops, we will check out the capacitor value and see how that is. The video that I did where the file got corrupted because I was trying different capacitors to try to fix it. That video ended up being like 35 minutes long, and I'm sure part of the reason it was so long is because it's taken so long. But wouldn't want to deprive everyone. I know people love seeing spin down, so I wouldn't want to deprive anyone of that, even though I'm very tempted just to reach out and stop it with my hands. Okay, we're almost there. Good enough. So, luckily, with most commercial fans, you can just lift the lower canopy to work on the fan. And what I'm going to do is I am going to disconnect one side of the capacitor just to make sure I get a good reading. And capacitance tester set to 20 microfarads. The settings are 200 microfarads, 20 microfarads, 2 microfarads, 200, I guess that's nanofarads. I don't usually deal in that small. 20 nanofarads, and then I think this is picofarad. I don't know. I'm going to say something wrong because I haven't studied this in a very long time. So, let's see if I can even sit this on the blade and still see the reading. Nope. Let's see here. I have alligator clips, that would also help. But I don't know where they are, so this is just going to be the way it is.
You came after me.
Ah, I've got some help. Fellow fan collector Andy is here, and he's decided to make an appearance in the video. So it's practically a celebrity
Cameo.
around these parts. Cameo appearance.
Cameo by my left hand.
And I'm testing the wrong wire, so that's why I'm not getting a good reading. I was doing the red wire from the motor instead of the red wire from the capacitor, so I'm just reading across the capacitor here. And that capacitor is reading 2.65 microfarads. So that capacitor is in fact bad. So that is the reason why it is going so slow. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it out of there, because there's no point in keeping a bad capacitor in place. Okay, no, I guess that'll work after all. This is not the right screwdriver for the job, it's just the one I happen to have. Oh, I've got a better one right here. So, Okay, so this capacitor is bad, because it is supposed to be 3.75, and in fact, it is, I think it was 2.65 something. So what I usually do when a capacitor is bad, rather than just toss it, I just tie the leads together so that I will remember that it's bad. And I really should just toss it, but somehow I think it'll be useful. So we'll do that for now, and it'll probably get tossed later. And I'm going to go over here to my, where's the capacitor tester? There it is. Got a big box of capacitors over here. And let's see if we can find a 375. There's a 475. Had I known, there's a 4. We'll set that aside because a 4 is pretty close. Had I known it was going to be bad, I would have looked for one ahead of the video. I was really expecting that it was going to be fine because it seemed, there's another 4. I was really expecting it was going to be, there's another 4. Because if you recall in the other video, when I tested it against, with a spare 375, it performed the same. So it's entirely possible that that 375. Here's a 375. Now let's check it out with the capacitor tester. Do you want to hold the camera there? Andy's a professional, so the camera work is about to get a lot better. I am.
Well, yeah, you had it effectively tripoded. You can't get better than that.
That's true. In my previous video, I showed my high-tech camera stand, which is my cordless drill.
Yes.
Okay, well, this 375 measures at 4. So, I mean, a 4 is a perfectly okay value to put in there, but the reason I'm looking for a 375 is because we tried a 4 before, and I want to see if there's any difference. So, I'm going to look a little bit longer and see if I have there's a 4.5. 4 3/4. If not, we'll just put a 4 in there that measures right. We'll put the 375 in there that measures 4. There's nothing wrong with that. Here's a 3. Because again, that's perfectly within tolerance. You know, that's not at all, you know, bad. It won't hurt anything at all for it to be. I just wanted to try to find one that hit it right on the nose just because. But I'm going to pull this out. Here's one with the leads tied together. Don't know if it's actually bad or not, but we can measure it. So we're going to, since the leads are tied together, we'll measure it and see. There's tons of 4s in here, but not a lot of 375s. 4.5, plenty of 4.5s. This one, 3 on the nose. 3 on the nose. 4 3/4. 9, but in a really small package. Normally, the bigger the value, the bigger the capacitor. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, because I'm not going to spend all day looking for a 375, so this was the one we measured, and it was 4, right?
If it's the 375, then yes.
Okay, before I forget, let's measure this one. This is rated at 5, but the leads are tied, and it measures as 4. So yeah, that's bad. Okay, here's whatever these 4s measures the closest to 375 is the one we'll use. That was 4.9. That's 4.26, so that's not any closer. 4.5. 4 1/4. In my experience, 4 15. This one doesn't have the leads are cut on this one. Okay, so we'll just use the 375. So, in my experience, when a capacitor is going bad, it will drift down, not up. So these that are slightly up, I'm guessing that's just the tolerance from the factory, because I've never encountered that where it's failed and drifted up. Not to say it doesn't happen, but if you see one that's starting to drift down, is in my experience means it's indicative that it's going to be failing soon. And if it's drifted up, or if it was just originally a high tolerance, then you know that's nothing to worry about. But that's just my opinion based on experience. Oops, blade is attacking the photographer. So okay, now this capacitor does not have a screw to mount it, so I'm just going to stick it in there and As long as there's no reason it needs to be mounted other than that we don't want it to rattle. If it rattles, I will hold it in place with electrical tape, which is my solution to anything that can't be solved with WD-40. But I'm guessing it will be fine. This is not a fan I would put in any sort of intense environment in the first place. This would go in a light commercial setting or maybe somebody's garage, you know. I think I said in the other video I was going to potentially trade this to a guy who has a blender fan and just wants a commercial fan for his shop. Okay, so let's see how it performs. Okay, something is hitting under the lower canopy, so we're going to see what that is. It's probably just a wire. Piece of you know what, why not, let's be professional and bootleg all at the same time. I have a roll of electrical tape in here somewhere. I'm going to fetch that. This is a bootleg fix, but I can't tell you how many times I've done this in commercial environments. In the canopy or lower canopy, just tape it in place just to hold the wires, keep them from moving around and then making noise and causing other problems. So again, this is not the most professional fixes, but it is fully approved by me. And certainly can't hurt anything other than making it a little bit more of a pain for the next person to work on. But other than me, who's going to go inside and work on a fan around here anyways? Probably just... So... because electrical tape is cheap, and because I'm someone who loves overkill on everything, I used overkill. Let's see if that takes care of the little tick, 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 tick noise. That definitely seems better, and it's no surprise that it would be. If it was, the original capacitor was failed all the way down to 2. That's pretty bad. If I ever have a day when I have nothing better to do, I should go through that box of capacitors and just test them all and toss all the ones that are way off. But
your phone says, unfortunately, voicemail has stopped.
Okay, well, fortunately, I don't care. I've been having all kinds of phone errors yesterday and today, and as well. That's how the video file for this previously got corrupted. So, okay, let's go through the speeds. I'll let it spin down at the end, but for now, we're just going to stop it by hand and go through the speeds. Start on low. Now, in the previous video, I went through all the speeds with the bad capacitor, and the interesting thing was that you don't need to have me on the camera unless you... I mean, I am very attractive, but, you know, people can go to my Facebook page if they want to gaze at my beauty.
I'm sorry.
So, in the previous video, the one thing that I noticed was that with the 4-speed control, medium low, medium high, and high all were just about the same. And that seems likely that that was because of the failed capacitor, but it'll be interesting to see what the difference is now. That low is definitely considerably faster. Now we have medium low. These are pretty cheap, horrible, junky commercial fans, but They're not the worst. The worst, I would say, are probably the Heritage ones that Menard sold for a while. Those were really bad. Honestly, I think these Airmasters, I'm looking at the one from the previous video, the Indian-made one, might even be worse. I've seen way more of those fail than I have seen these Westinghouse Encon, etc. ones fail. But, okay, so that's medium-low. It's quite fast for medium-low. Really? Oh, you stopped it?
I killed it, so...
Oh, no need to do that. That's going to confuse me. I'm easily confused. So when I got medium-high. Yeah, I'm going to do another video with the Airmaster, possibly today, hopefully today, where we do the same thing with that one, check the capacitor value and check the amperage, because that one was also abnormally slow on high, and I also tried replacing the capacitor with no success. So that's medium-high. Yeah, there's definitely the speeds other than low are definitely all pretty fast, but I'm noticing a difference, at least in this case, with the previous capacitor. I didn't even really see much of a difference at all. It does take forever to get up to speed. Again, it's not not the most air movement by any means, and not the most resilient motor by any means, but for somebody who has a garage or a covered porch or something like that, and they really don't care about having the best, but they want something that's better than a residential fan, I don't think these are the worst. They're just, again, you compare them to, you know, pretty much every other commercial offering out there, and they're so, let's do spin down time. And if you want to pass me the camera, I've been requested to have this camera angle more, which is me, oops, my finger, that wasn't the camera angle, not the one with my finger, which is me kneeling down here in the corner. I can't remember what video I did, but I came here at the end, and they were like, can you just do that the whole time? And the problem with that is I can't change the speeds, and plus it's kind of awkward to have to go find the corner and kneel down in it, but I can at least do it for the spin down time. For those who don't know Andy, he's got a YouTube channel up where he's got similar videos, although much more professionally done, of a 5-blade, no, 4-blade. Did you do it with both blade options or just the 4?
Are you talking about the original?
Yes.
Just the 4.
Yeah, it's a 4 or 5-blade original installed with 4 blades in his dad's garage, and they did a really cool installation, and he took a lot of really cool video footage, and you can find that on his YouTube channel, which is
Vespin Vid 2, VESPINE, capital VID, numeral 2.
That's a language that he made up. So
it's just spelling.
Yeah. It is means something in his...
This is that Airmaster.
That's the Airmaster. Yeah, I did a video of it the other day. It also sucks, but since today I have both the capacitance meter and the amp meter, which turns out are the same thing. I didn't know the multimeter that had the capacitance function also had an amperage function. I knew my other meter did. But since I have those, we can figure out why it sucks. We can figure out if the capacitor has failed, if there's something wrong with the motor, or if it just sucks. We can, obviously, testing the capacitor is obvious. We just did that. If we test it and the capacitor is fine and it draws more amperage than it should, that means that there's a short somewhere in the motor windings, which is not enough to cause the motor to fail, but enough to cause it to run slower. And if it draws a labeled amount of current or slightly less, then nothing is wrong with it, and it just is a sucky Suckington. So,
I believe that's made by Hampton Bay.
What is?
The Hampton Bay Suckington.
Yes, that's true. They have the Crappington, the Suckington, and several others that involve curse words. Since I have lots of gospel music on my channel, I try not to curse in my videos. Of course, I'm a good Christian and would never think of cursing. You know that about me, Andy. So, also, I think lots of children watch my videos. Don't swear, kids.
Stay in school.
Yes. Eat your vegetables.
I feel like I should hold my breath watching that thing. Like if I exhale too much, it might affect the...
Yeah, I think if you hold your breath waiting for it, you'll die. It's, the good thing about a long spin down time is it means that the bearings are good, which is especially good here because these bearings were horrible when I got it, and I tried oiling it without opening the motor, which is my normal method, and I managed to free them up, but they were still very noisy, so I ended up opening the motor and greasing them, and now it runs beautifully. Normally I would replace the bearings if I opened the motor, but I just didn't have that kind of time. So, yeah, we'll see what other videos we get to today. On the list is a surprise Hunter original variation for the museum. You know, checking out this other Airmaster and seeing what's wrong with it. And I think I realized I never did a performance video of the fans installed down here. These EnviroFan, Decora fans, and whatnot, where I show them on all the speeds. I think they've only ever been shown on low. So my goal is to get that done sometime. I just don't know what all we're going to get to today. Depends on time and phone battery life and other such things. So what do you think? Is it you see all the progress I've made getting stuff cleaned up and put away? It's definitely not
I haven't been over on the other side yet.
Yeah.
So.
It's still a work in progress, but it's better than it's been since the museum project started.
Less junk over here. Well, less random fan motors, just the 4.
Yeah, that's because those are not complete fans. Okay, this video is done. We'll have some more videos for you later. Thanks for watching.